Okay, this is Introduction to Data Studio and Troubleshooting with Data Studio. You should have the lab that is position versus time, and the front of that lab should have a sheet that looks like this that says Intro to Data Studio, how it works, and troubleshooting. We'll be going through this one step at a time, and I expect you to take notes. That way, when you have problems with the Data Studio program, which, by the way, you are most likely going to, you can go through these notes and be able to troubleshoot some of your own problems and be able to take care of this lab more effectively. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you is the actual black box. This is the Pasco black box interface system. All right, let's see if we can get a better focus here. You're going to focus for me? All right, this is what the front looks like. This little green light is the power. These two right here are where we're going to plug in the Sonic Rangers. And these three right here are where we'll plug in force sensors later. The back of this has, let me zoom in here, has an on-off switch where you plug it into the power and where the plug that goes to the computer. So all told, when you're ready for the lab, it will look like this. And we'll have a green light for power. All right, if it doesn't have a green light, that means that someone's turned off the power, and you know the power switch is on the back, so you can make sure that you turn it back on. This is the black box. This is the Sonic Ranger. It has a little disc right here, and it clicks. And what it does is it finds out how far away something is from this gold disc by clicking, and so it's sonic. It listens to sound. And here is the angle. So you can adjust the angle of that gold disc so that it's pointing at whatever it is that so you have a nice flat surface. All right. So here are the tools that you'll be using. It has a switch on the top here. This switch really doesn't matter. Usually we have it on the wider side. So that's the hardware for the Pasco interface system. Let's open up the Data Studio program, and I'll talk a little bit about the software. So we'll minimize that. The Data Studio program, if you click underneath your Start menu and you go to All Programs, it should be in there. There'll also be a Data Studio library. Don't click on that. Just click on the Data Studio program. And when it pops up, it looks like this. And you'll be asked to open the activity. And it should take you straight to this section here. And you'll be in the physics section. I'll be doing Physics 1, which is position and time. There are several other programs here that we might be using, but we're going to start with position and time. Open. Now the first thing that you do is you close this workbook because it's worthless. And then you make the graph itself bigger. Just like you make any window bigger, you go to the corner and you drag it out. Now, a hint for reading this graph is that you notice that the size over here, these numbers are in what label? I want you to stop. I want you to study the graph, and I want you to think about it, and I'll pause and count to like 3 in my head, or 5 or something. Okay? Right here, this is your clue to what the label is. This is an M for meters on its side. Some students look at it and they say it's an E, but it's an M. It's for meters. So that means that right here, this is 1 meter. And right here, this is 0.4 meters, which is 40 centimeters. So when you start this lab, you are 40 centimeters away from the Sonic Ranger. So that's reading the graph. You can also scale this graph. You can make it bigger or smaller. You can make it the scale. If you put the cursor over the numbers, it'll make a little spring, and you can scroll up or down, and that will change the size of the graph this way. You can also do it down here. All right. So you can adjust the graph that way. And then of course you can put your on the bar and you can move the graph this way, and you can change the size of the graph overall by taking the corner and moving it like that. So that's the way that you can actually manipulate the actual graph. Next is making data. When you make data, what you're doing is you are getting the distance from the Sonic Ranger. So when you start the Sonic Ranger, it will, and everything is going fine, the Sonic Ranger will click. So I'm going to kind of move close to it so hopefully you'll be able to hear the click on this microphone here. So there it is. Hopefully you can hear that. All right. And then I was too close to it, so it didn't register right away. So I'm just holding still here at about 4.4 meters away from it. It runs for 10 seconds with 5 seconds to figure out where you are. So if you hit start again, and I'll give you, here's the 5 seconds to figure out where you are. And then you okay. So this would be decent data. And like sometimes you get really bad data like my first run. Sometimes you get decent data like my second run. And sometimes you get, oh my goodness, what the heck happened data that looks something like this. Okay. And if you, sometimes what will happen is you might get data that's so bad that it will change your start graph. So if you get good data, it should be close to the start line, or your match data. If you've got bad data, it's nowhere close. So you'll need to delete the bad data from the graph. To do that, you'll want to look at this right here. This is the legend. Now, the legend has a highlighted, there's on this graph, there's the match data, run 1, run 2, and run 3. Now we want to delete run 3 because this is ridiculously bad. So I just hit delete, and then I can either click on remove, or I can hit delete enter, and oh no, I've deleted the match data. What's a girl to do? Well, first of all, I don't want that last one. But the match data is still stored over here on the left along with all of your runs. So I can take this match data, click on it, and drag it back out to the graph, and it'll be on the graph. All right, so then I said, oh, okay, so I need to make another run now. So you've got your match data on there and you want to do another run, and you hit start. But lo and behold, no, it should be graphing, and it's not graphing. What do I do? Well, what happens is there's a glitch in this particular program. I don't know why it is. I just know that it has to have at least one run on the graph in order for it to live run. So if you have at least one thing on there, then it will live graph for you. Okay? Oh no, Miss Martin, my graph shrunk. What do I do now? Okay, so then you delete the run that's bad. And then you resize it. Now, there's a button right over here in the corner. This is called resizing. Okay, this button right here, it's called scale to fit. If you hit it, it'll pop right back to where it belongs, as long as you don't have one of those crazy graphs on there. All right, my best run so far was run number 2, so I'm going to put that back on there, and I'm going to delete run number 4. So highlight number 4, delete number 4, So this is my best run so far. So we've got the old run back on the graph. I've deleted the bad data. I figured out what to do if the Sonic Ranger is clicking but it won't graph. All right, now we've got to figure out what to do. I need to hit start here. If you hit start and it says, oh, it never reaches its start condition, should it save the data? Well, no. All right, I'm going to close this for a second. Sometimes this thing will disconnect from the black box. You'll get a message that looks something like this. Data collection from the interface has failed. This activity has stopped. Check the interface power and cabling and try connecting again. And you'll also see that in the start box, the green arrow will be gone and you won't have the ability to push this button. It won't do anything. Now there are 3 strategies that I want you to try before you call me if this happens. The first strategy is called reconnecting the program settings. Basically, it's making sure that the software is connected. So you hit the setup button here, and it shows you a picture of the interface, and then you just hit click to connect, and usually that works. For some reason, that's the easiest thing. You hit the start button, it's good to go. Okay? The second step is to make sure that all your wires are plugged in. Are the wires here plugged in? Are these wires plugged in? You give them a little push, and then check the other ends. Is this one plugged into the computer? Is this one plugged into the plug? Is the power on? Is everything all good here? That's your second strategy. All right. Then after you've checked all the wires, you go back to the setup and you click to connect again. The third strategy is you go back to the box and you unplug the computer, and you take this wire and you go all the way over to the computer and you unplug the other end too. Do you hear that? All right. So you got both ends. Then you count to 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then you plug this end into the computer first, leaving this end not plugged in. You want to make sure that you hear the computer connect to the cable.